So we need to talk about the Milwaukee Bucks right now and Mike Budenholzer because honestly, at the moment, they are painful to watch. Like, I'm not even a Milwaukee Bucks fan, and I'm glad I'm not because this is honestly borderline psychological abuse or torture for anyone that is a fan of this organization. So this is coming off a Game 5 loss to the Brooklyn Nets where Bucks were leading as much as 17, I believe, versus a Nets team with a stricken Harden, no Kyrie, and still the Bucks find a way to throw this game. And part of it is down to the players. Like Giannis was terrible down the stretch with some of his shot selection, but it wouldn't even be a close game without Mike Budenholzer's terrible tactics and rotations, and we'll get to that. Things started off pretty well for the Bucks. Like the Nets were playing terrible in the first half. Only Kevin Durant and Jeff Green could really get it going. The rest of the guys couldn't hit a shot. And from the start, it was pretty obvious to everyone that Harden wasn't 100%. Like he was just on the court as a decoy and a playmaker and a spot up shooter because definitely could not drive to the basket. And things looked good for the Bucks early on, despite some early foul trouble. Drew Holiday, especially picking up two unnecessary fouls by picking up Harden in half court when he really wasn't a threat in this game. And to be honest, this game should have been a blowout at halftime. I think even Chuck and Shaq in the studio said that it should have been a blowout. And that's the reoccurring theme with the Bucks that they start doing something very well and getting it going offensively, and then for some inexplicable reason they get away from that and start doing ISO threes and isolation plays that don't really result in anything. And the result was that despite playing very well, the Bucks did not kill off this game when they should have, and the Nets were still in this going into halftime. And so the third quarter rolls around, and this is where things really start going downhill for the Bucks. And one decision in particular was the reason for this was playing Brooke Lopez. Like Brooke Lopez plays 36 minutes in this game, and that alone probably cost him the win. So there was literally 3 or 4 plays in a row where the Nets would just set a high screen for Kevin Durant. And because Brooke Lopez has a tendency to just sag in the paint, he would just have an open mid-range every single time. And then even the one time that Brooke Lopez comes up a bit to help, because of the runway, Kevin Durant just blows by him, gets fouled for an and one at the rim. And so you see all of this happening, play after play, Brooke Lopez just getting torched. And you think to yourself, like, when is Mike Budenholzer going to make a substitution? Like, when is he going to take Brooke Lopez out of this game? Because it is costing them the win at this point. Like, it just completely lets not just the Nets back in this game, but just allows Kevin Durant to get hot in this. Part of me understands that, okay, PJ Tucker is in foul trouble, Chris Middleton is in foul trouble, Giannis is in foul trouble, but Bobby Portis plays 0 minutes in this game, like, and Brooke Lopez plays 36. Like, that is, you just cannot defend that decision. Like, I'm at a loss of words for why Brooke Lopez plays 36 minutes. And I haven't been the only one to be vocal about this. Like, Rusty Buckets, another YouTuber I've got a lot of respect for, has said before going into this series that Brooke Lopez is going to be a liability on defense because they just put him in a screen. When you have KD, Harden, Kyrie on those coming off those screens, like, you just can't have a defender sagging that far off. And what's more infuriating is that I could understand if you're playing him, if you're utilizing him the right way on offense. Like, if he was banging in the paint, then yeah, sure, play him. Like, he's going to make Jeff Green work. He's going to get those guys in foul trouble. But then on offense, they're literally using him like you would a spot-up shooter like Danny Green, or like he's basically Porzingis on offense. Like, he's just sitting in the corner, not making the defender work, not banging in the paint or using his size. Like, it is just a terrible decision from Mike Budenholzer and really poor tactics. And so as soon as this game started getting close, I knew the Nets were going to win because everyone on that team just heated up. The crowd was behind them. They had the momentum. And the Bucks, I think the key word for the Bucks is they are so bad at executing. I think that's what the playoffs are really about, is how well do you execute your plan, not just when things are going well, but when shots stop dropping, when your offense stagnates a bit, like what plans and plays do you go to get those buckets? And the Bucks just don't have any ability to do that. And we really saw that down the stretch. Like there's no off-ball screens to get a shooter open. There was no back screen and then a backdoor cut. Like none of that. It was just drop it to Giannis in the post or isolation. And so the Bucks lose the game to the Nets without Kyrie, with a banged up Harden. They lose this game despite leading 17. And I think the epitome of what the Bucks stand for is when Giannis is posting up Harden, a guy that is much smaller than him, and he settles for a post fadeaway instead of just banging in the paint and getting to the rim. And that just really sums it up for the Bucks. Like, this is just a very bad team at executing down the stretch when things aren't going their way, when shots aren't dropping. So now we head back to Milwaukee for Game 6, and I don't even want to assume that Budenholzer is going to make adjustments. Like, if Brook Lopez comes out and plays 48 minutes, I wouldn't be surprised. If Bobby Portis plays 0 minutes again, wouldn't be surprised at this point, because nothing at this point that Mike Budenholzer would do would really surprise me. He's a terrible coach, terrible playoff coach, without a doubt. And the most bizarre thing is that despite no Kyrie, no Harden, banged up Nets team, shooting the three so poorly and executing their game plan so badly, the Bucks still have a chance to go home, win, and force a Game 7 and advance to the next round, which is just absolutely crazy that a team can play this bad and still be in a close series. So that's pretty much it for the video. This is a new channel, and if you like the content, subscribe, and I'll be posting on here more frequently.